We think of medieval medicine as a dark age of superstition, leeches, and desperate prayers that rarely worked. We're told that before modern laboratories, people died from simple scratches because they didn't have the advanced chemicals we use today. We are conditioned to view history as a straight line of progress, where we are the enlightened peak and our ancestors were merely fumbling in the dark. But what if I told you that medieval herbalism wasn't just folklore? It was a sophisticated, centuries-old science of the earth that produced cures often more effective and far safer than the synthetic pills we swallow today. The monks in their quiet cloisters, the wise women in the deep woods, and the village healers of medieval Europe weren't just guessing. They were utilizing complex botanical compounds that modern Big Pharma has either suppressed, patented into a weaker version, or banned through regulations because a plant you can grow in your backyard for free doesn't fit a trillion-dollar profit model. They traded the wisdom of the soil for the control of the laboratory. In this video, you'll discover 7 medieval healing herbs that were standard practice for 1,000 years. Methods that the medical industry buried because they can't be scaled, rushed, or controlled by corporate patents. And at the end, the real reason why this primitive knowledge is being systematically erased from our memory. Walk into a medieval infirmary after a harvest accident, and you wouldn't find a cast. You'd find a knit bone poultice. Medieval healers relied on comfrey, a plant so powerful at mending tissue that it was called the bone setter. Medieval peasants crushed the roots and leaves into a thick, cooling paste and applied it directly to fractures, severe sprains, and deep wounds. The results were legendary, with bones seemingly knitting together twice as fast as normal. The secret isn't magic. It's a compound called allantoin. It's a cell proliferant that triggers the body to produce new cells at an accelerated rate, effectively supercharging the healing process. Modern medicine has a complicated relationship with comfrey. It's been largely banned for internal use in many countries, citing potential liver toxicity from certain alkaloids. While caution is needed for ingestion, this ban effectively pushed one of history's greatest external healing tools out of the public consciousness. Why? Because a root you dig up in a ditch does for pennies what modern regenerative creams try to do for $50. Medieval people used it because it worked. We should remember it because the body's ability to repair itself shouldn't be a corporate secret. If a medieval blacksmith had a pounding headache or a knight had a fever after battle, they didn't reach for a white plastic bottle. They reached for the bark of the white willow tree. For centuries, peeling a strip of willow bark in the spring was the standard treatment for pain and inflammation. In the late 1800s, a massive pharmaceutical company isolated the active ingredient, salicin, and synthesized it into what we now call aspirin. But here is what Big Pharma forgot to tell you. When you take a synthetic aspirin pill, it often irritates the stomach lining, sometimes causing ulcers. Medieval willow bark, however, contains natural tannins and flavonoids that actually protect the digestive system, while the salicin does its work. The industry traded a balanced, whole-plant medicine for a fast-acting chemical isolate that they could patent and mass-produce. Medieval willow bark required patience. It took longer to kick in as the body processed the raw bark, but it stayed in the system longer and didn't damage the gut. It was a refined matching of nature to human biology that we've traded for convenience and profit margins. In the medieval world, melancholy, or the blues, wasn't seen as a chemical imbalance, but a shadow on the soul. Their cure was St. John's wort, known as fuga daemonum, the flight of the devils. Healers followed the doctrine of signatures, believing that the bright yellow flowers, which bloomed at the height of summer, captured the sun's light to chase away darkness. Modern industry has fought a decades-long war against this plant. In many parts of the world, it is heavily regulated or requires a prescription, often labeled as dangerous because it interacts with synthetic drugs. The real danger to the industry? It works. Clinical studies have repeatedly shown that for mild to moderate depression, St. John's wort is as effective as standard antidepressants, but with significantly fewer side effects. The medieval method involved infusing the flowers in oil or wine, creating a potent, blood-red tonic that brightened the mind. Big Pharma can't patent a yellow flower that grows on every hillside, so they've spent millions framing it as an unreliable and risky alternative to their highly controlled synthetic blockers. Its botanical name is Achillea millefolium, named after the hero Achilles, who allegedly used it on the battlefield. In the medieval period, it was the knight's bandage. Every soldier knew that if they were cut in battle, finding yarrow was the difference between life and death. Medieval healers used dried, powdered yarrow to instantly staunch bleeding from deep gashes. It contains a specific alkaloid called achilleine, which acts as a powerful hemostatic, forcing the blood to clot almost on contact. Beyond the battlefield, it was a staple in every cottage garden. Today, we use chemical styptics and sterile, expensive gauzes. Yarrow has been relegated to a weed in your garden, often sprayed with poison. The industry erased it because a liquid bandage that grows for free doesn't fit the supply chain of a modern hospital. But for the medieval survivor, yarrow was the engineering solution to the most basic survival problem: keeping your blood inside your body without a surgical team. If you suffer from migraines today, you're told to take a cocktail of synthetic pills that often leave you groggy or nauseous. A medieval peasant would have used feverfew. Traditional medieval use involved eating 2 or 3 leaves a day, often hidden in a sandwich to mask the bitterness, to prevent the great ache of the head. Modern science eventually caught up, discovering that feverfew contains parthenolide, a compound that inhibits the release of serotonin and prostaglandins that cause vessel inflammation in the brain. But you won't see feverfew advertised during the evening news. Why? Because you can't patent a leaf. It's been sidelined as an unproven supplement, despite 1,000 years of successful clinical trials in the homes and fields of our ancestors. It's a matchup of plant chemistry to human suffering, but was far too simple and accessible for a complex global profit model. In a world before water filtration, internal parasites were a constant threat. The medieval solution was bitter and effective: wormwood. This herb is the source of the chemical thujon. It was used in medieval bitters and tonics to purge the body of worms and stimulate the liver. Because of its association with absinthe and the 19th century hysteria surrounding it, it has been heavily demonized and restricted by modern health authorities. While high doses require respect and knowledge, the medical industry's push to marginalize wormwood effectively removed one of the most powerful natural antiparasitics from our reach. They'd rather sell you a patented synthetic dewormer than teach you how to use the bitter medicine of the earth. Medieval people understood that health sometimes requires a bitter cure, a lesson we've forgotten in our modern quest for sugar-coated symptoms management and instant, tasteless gratification. Before ventilators and synthetic inhalers, there was elecampane. Medieval herbalists called it the lung restorer. It was the primary treatment for what they called the winter cough, or chest rot. The roots were dug up in the autumn, sliced, and boiled into a thick syrup or infused in honey. These roots are rich in inulin and allantollactone, compounds that are both expectorant and antiseptic. They don't just mask a cough, they actively help the lungs clear out infection and soothe the respiratory lining. Modern cough syrups are mostly sugar, dye, and chemicals that suppress the cough reflex without actually treating the underlying cause. Elecampane was abandoned because it's a slow medicine. It requires a careful decoction of the root and a few days of steady, mindful use. Factories want a quick fix that they can put on a shelf for 3 years and sell to a distracted public. Medieval people knew that real healing takes time, and the lungs need a botanical ally, not a chemical muzzle. Every one of these herbs was used for a millennium because they worked. Every one has been pushed to the fringes by an industry that values patents over patience and speed over safety. The medical industry didn't erase these methods because they were primitive. They erased them because patience, nature, and self-reliance don't fit modern profit models. Synthesizing a chemical allows for a patent. Isolating an ingredient allows for a standardized pill. Rushing a cure allows for a faster return to the workforce. But we've traded the complex, balanced wisdom of our ancestors for a system that treats symptoms while ignoring the earth. The question isn't whether medieval medicine was better. Anyone who has successfully treated a wound with yarrow or a migraine with feverfew knows the answer. The question is whether you're willing to relearn the language of the plants that grow at your feet. These 7 herbs are the path back to true self-reliance. Our ancestors didn't have labs, but they had a deep, practical wisdom born from necessity and a relentless observation of the natural world. If you're ready to reclaim that knowledge, if you're tired of a world that treats nature as an enemy to be conquered rather than a partner to be understood, hit that subscribe button. Every week, we uncover the lost ways that actually work. Drop a comment and tell me, which of these ancient healers do you have growing in your backyard right now? This isn't just about herbs. It's about recognizing that we aren't the first people to understand how to heal. We're just the first to forget. Stay prepared, stay healthy, stay medieval.